Okay, we are live on YouTube and live on Facebook. All weeks since I got on here. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't let another week go by without getting on here and saying hello and saying what's up to everybody. I'm Ashley, of course, of Day to Day Social Work. Hey, Demetrius, how are you? Just wanted to get on here because I hadn't been on here in like 3 weeks. So I wanted to come on here and just chit chat for a few minutes. I will wait for another minute or two to see if anybody else wants to come in here. I know people watch this back throughout the week and stuff like that. Um, won't be on here too long. I started a little bit late at 8 o'clock instead of 7 or 7:30 like I normally do because I just got back home from visiting my mom and grandma and my folks. So just wanted to get on here, even though it was a little bit late, and just give everybody a little update and catch up. I also wanted to make sure that I welcome and recognize all the new members from the Facebook page. Those of you who are on YouTube that are not aware of the Facebook page, then make sure that you go on Facebook and you search Day to Day Social Work. It's a group and it's a private group, so you have to be accepted. And that's just because I've been seeing a lot of pages that want to come in and market, promote stuff that doesn't even have to do with social work. And so I have to try to filter through all of that. So, yes, there is a Facebook page for Day to Day Social Work. If you haven't joined it yet, then please do. And then for those of you who are on Facebook, so there are tons of new people in the Facebook group. Make sure that you subscribe to the Day to Day Social Work YouTube channel because that is where all of the content is. All of the content that is going to help you prepare for your exam is on the YouTube page. And so that's why one of the questions that you have to answer whenever you request to be added to the Facebook group, one of the questions is, have you subscribed to the YouTube channel? And because that's what I want you to do is to make sure that you get over there because there are over 100 videos on the YouTube channel dealing with review content for the exam, tutoring testimonials, all things dealing with social work. All of the Sunday socials from previous weeks have been posted on the YouTube channel. So that's why that's there. And that's why I want to make sure that you all subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Um, so I think it wasn't last week, but the week before last week was pretty cool because we had all three people that took their exam that week passed their exam, and I was super, super excited. Only one person so far has made a video testimonial, but um, all three people definitely were excited about passing their exams, and I definitely was excited for them. So I just wanted to make sure to recognize those three people again. Let's see what else. So as far as me and what I have going on, and I haven't really been getting on here as much lately because it's summertime, and I know people have been trying to get their last minute vacations in with their kids before their kids start back to school and stuff like that. So I've just been also having self-care time for my own self because I've been going through stuff, and it's just like sometimes it's just hard to get on here and just talk about social work stuff on a Sunday evening. So this Sunday, though, tonight, I feel okay and I feel like talking. So um, I'm still going to counseling. So for those of you who are new and aren't aware, I definitely promote counseling for us as social workers. If you've ever thought about going to counseling, please do. If you have an EAP through your employer, please use it. If you have a behavioral health benefit in your health insurance plan, please use it to, if you can, of course, to get some therapy. You know, at the beginning of the year, I thought about getting a therapist because I'm currently under supervision for my license, my advanced license, my clinical license. And at first, I was like, like, I don't really think I need to go to therapy because I don't have a lot going on. And then boom, I had this big incident that happened. And I was like, okay, I guess I should go. I was going to go anyway, but I was like, okay. So, that was like 7 months ago. And I started with an online therapist that I found just doing psychology today, I think it was. And I met with him for like 2 sessions and wasn't really necessarily a good fit. And then I went through the EAP and I met with that therapist, for all 6 sessions that they give us each year through the EAP. That was very helpful for what I was going through at the time, and to just tie things back from the past up until now. And then I kind of went without going to therapy for a couple of months. And then I just started back going. I have a new therapist and I really like her. She's actually my age. At first I didn't know how I felt about that, but then I'm like, okay, but I'm my age, of course. And I think that I would be helpful to somebody else my age too. So just for a brief second, I was like, that's kind of weird that she's my age. But, I like her. I've met with her, I think 2 or 3 times. And so far it's been very helpful for me. So if you have been contemplating going to therapy, please contemplate a little bit more. And if you are able to, then I would say go for it and see how it can be helpful for you, because a lot of times people who are therapists need to deal with their own stuff. We need to deal with our own traumas from the past or present. And we need to deal with our own baggage, emotional baggage, and just stuff that we have going on. Because I was walking around here for years thinking that everything was okay. And then when I went to therapy consistently, because I had gone before twice in the past, but I only went once each of the 2 times that I went, and I didn't go consistently. So now that I've started going consistently since the beginning of this year, I realized I've been walking through life thinking that everything was okay. And it is okay. But like when you start digging and connecting and seeing how one thing relates to another, you start realizing that, hey, maybe I'm not as okay as I thought I was. And so it's good to have somebody to talk through all of your stuff. And it's good for you to be the client sometimes, because, all of us here for the most part are working towards some sort of license, whether it's your LMSW or the license that you get after your master's exam, after your master's degree, whatever you call it in your state, or we're here for our advanced license, which in the state of South Carolina is the LISWCP, and it's called different things in different states, but we're all pretty much here for the same reason. Primarily is to pass the license exam. So I would venture to say that most of us want to be clinicians and do some kind of private practice or do some kind of therapy or counseling with people. So I do think that it would be helpful, because it's almost hypocritical to I won't, and don't be offended by me saying that, but I do feel like it's almost hypocritical for us to have our clients come and talk to us when we haven't talked to anybody ourselves. And everybody has something. I mean, really, even if it's not as big or major as other people's traumas and stuff like that, everybody has something that they've gone through or that they are currently going through and that they can talk to somebody about. So that's pretty much it. I also wanted to just touch on anxiety and depression. So pretty much, I don't want to, let me see, how do I want to word this? I don't want to downplay people who actually have a serious chronic struggle with depression. But I can say at some points this year, I have had some depression, and it's not been diagnosed, but I finally felt that feeling, I think, that people feel when they have minor, very, very minor, mild depression. And again, it wasn't diagnosed. Now, at the beginning of the year, when you go to therapy, they have to diagnose you with something. And I can't remember exactly what it was that that the initial therapist diagnosed me with, but it was like an episode of depression or something like that. And then this other therapist diagnosed me with like adjustment disorder because of an event that happened, and I had some troubles with that. So, and I'm just being transparent. So, hi Joletta, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So yeah, so again, mine is not something that I've struggled with for my whole entire life or anything like that. It's just when certain stuff happens, it's harder for me to cope sometimes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to that. But when I've never been depressed before until certain things happened this year. And so I now understand better the thin line between just being sad and being depressed. And I now understand better that being sad is something that you can experience and feel, and you don't want to feel it, but it can like go away a lot more quickly, versus depression is for me, and I'm just speaking personally, so this isn't for everybody. And again, I'm not suffering from any major depression or anything like that, so I don't want to take away from those that are. But for me, I finally felt and understand that dark cloud that they say is just always surrounding you, and how you just feel doom or uncertainty and hopelessness and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's mostly because I'm 32 years old. I'm not married. I don't have any children. I live alone. And so I'm by myself, and I work from home. So I'm by myself a lot. And sometimes I don't have to go out and see patients and stuff like that. So sometimes I might be at home for like 2 or 3 days at a time, unless I just go out to the store or something like that. And it's lonely, it can get lonely. So I have to make sure I get out of the house, like today, and at least once a week I go home and see my mom and my grandmother and my brother, and be around my family. And I don't do anything in particular, just go and sit with them and just be, so I understand now how people can feel. And if mine is just based off an incident that happened, and I'm not depressed anymore, but a few months ago I was. Now I could only imagine what people who deal with chronic depression feel like. I mean, that's not just from one thing that happened to them. That is from years and years and years of trauma and things that have happened to them. So it's like you can be happy for a moment, and then you still feel that sense of just hopelessness and stuff. And so what I found over the last year or two is that a lot of things that have happened in my personal life have shown me the things that we learn in the book, but it has shown me how it manifests in real life. And so it's way different than the book, of course. So from depression, anxiety, to the video I made on the benzodiazepine withdrawal that a family member of mine went through, that is just a whole lot different when we learn it in the book versus when we deal with it in real life. And so just a lot of the different mental illnesses that I've experienced through my patients and through people in my personal life, just seeing them go through these things that we learn about in the book, it's like way, way different. And I've been really having like this awakening over the last year or two to all of this stuff. And I'm so glad that my family and I have been able to overcome this stuff. But it's just like kind of crazy to just experience the stuff that we learn about in the book and just see it manifest in real life. As far as the anxiety goes, I mean, I've had panic attacks in college before that just came out of nowhere. But then, like, again, this year, through the stuff that I had been going through earlier this year, anxiety for me is definitely physical. It's definitely something that you feel. Like I've gotten up in the morning and felt anxiety, like just felt in my body like anxiousness and nervousness, and it's not a good feeling. And I just really sympathize and empathize with people who have like generalized anxiety disorder, and people who just deal with anxiety on a regular basis, because that feeling is not good. It's not fun, of course. It's not something that I enjoy. And I mean, it's not something that you can really control. And mine, for the most part, would happen when I wake up in the morning. But once I get going, then everything is fine. But when you wake up first thing in the morning and you feel that feeling in your body where you just, it's like it's hard to explain, but I'm pretty sure most of you know it, know the feeling, because I think a lot of people deal with anxiety and worry and the uncertainty of things. And so that's just kind of like what I've felt waking up some mornings. But what I can say is that whenever things happen to me, I try to find a way to fix it. Of course, social worker, but not even just as a social worker, but also as like a Capricorn, which I don't know if y'all believe in all the astrology stuff, which I don't necessarily subscribe to all the stuff about astrology, but I know about Capricorns because I am one. And so all of the stuff they say about Capricorns kind of fit me to a T. So, but whenever things happen, I'm always looking for a positive side of things, and I'm always trying to find a way to make things better. And so meditation, as cliche as it may sound, has really helped me with the anxiety that I would experience in the morning. So I would just go on YouTube. It's like YouTube is great for everything, which, you know, I don't know if we should be so dependent on YouTube and all that stuff like we are and can be. But like it's so much information on YouTube, as y'all already know, but I would just go on YouTube, and I also downloaded some free apps on my phone too. And I found a few that I liked, and then I would listen to different meditations in the morning. And I actually got into a routine instead of like, that was another thing that I did to kind of work on my anxiety, was to get into a routine. So before, because I work from home, I would just stay awake until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, being on the computer, which is not good for my eyes, which is why I have to have glasses. Well, it's not why I have to have glasses, but you know, which is why I'm pretty sure one of the reasons why I have glasses. But you know, being on the computer and just wasting like time, because I didn't have to get up early in the morning like most people do, or as early in the morning like most people do. So I wanted to do a regular routine. And so I made a bedtime for myself, and I made sure to get off the computer and off the phone and off all the electronics like an hour before bed. And I just made time to like pray, or to go through some positive affirmations, and to what else did I do? Journal and meditate. And so I set an alarm on my phone to just remind me that I needed to get off the computer a certain time, and then I would just go into my routine and then go to bed at like 11 o'clock. And so I started to get more sleep. And then I also made sure to wake up way earlier in the morning than I used to. Because like I said, I work from home, and I turn my work cell on at 8 o'clock. And so most of the time I wouldn't even wake up until 7:45. And, you know, because I work from home, I just wake up at 7:45 and, you know, exercise in the morning, make breakfast, take a shower, do that kind of thing, because I don't really have to start calling my patients until around 10, because, you know, you don't want to start calling them at 8 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, just having a routine. And so for the morning time, I would meditate. I would get up, make sure I had some water, meditate, make my bed. And that was another thing that I did intentionally, was make sure that I got out of my bed, because working from home, you can get really comfortable and you just work from bed. But, you know, I said, I'm not going to sit in this bed and work like I used to. So I made sure to make my bed in the morning and get out of the bedroom, go into here in my sunroom and sit at the table and do my work at the table. And so, you know, just making some changes. And so that really did help my anxiety a whole lot. And so, you know, I just like to share information like that in case, you need some ideas if you are going through anxiety or anything like that. What else? Another thing that I wanted to talk about is, and not just in any, full detail or anything like that, but just, because I spoke about the anxiety and depression, also just how commonly we use terms and diagnoses to diagnose people who clearly don't have these disorders. So, of course, earlier this year, I was really into narcissistic personality disorder and learning about that a whole lot, and tying it to people in my life, and just getting a lot more information about it. So, a lot of people in regular day-to-day life are always saying that, some even more prevalent now than before, are always calling somebody narcissistic. And now that I've learned so much about it, it's kind of like y'all have no clue what narcissistic personality disorder is. And people are just using it, so loosely. The same thing with like bipolar disorder, which kind of like makes me feel some kind of way, because I know people personally who have bipolar disorder and they already feel stigmatized. And so when people just loosely and jokingly say that someone has bipolar disorder when they clearly don't, and they make jokes about it in front of the people who actually do have it, I just feel some kind of way, because I know that the people who actually do have the disorder feel some kind of way already. And so it's just really not a good look for people to joke about it. And of course, with bipolar disorder, there are two different extremes, and people are manic and they go through depression, and it's very, polarized. So the fact that people just say, because somebody said that they wanted to eat pizza at 5:00 and then now it's 8:00 and now they want tacos, and then you call that person bipolar, it's like, no, they're not. Like, you don't even know. And then that's just how loosely people use the terms on something very mundane like that, like changing your mind about what you want to eat. That's not bipolar at all. And it's not, and we shouldn't say that somebody is bipolar. We should say that they have bipolar disorder. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into the semantics and all that stuff, but, I just wanted to talk about that for a few minutes. And then also just see if anybody had any questions about the exam or questions about anything, because like I said, I don't want to, my Facebook Live stopped working. I don't know why that happens a lot. So of course, I'm going to post this YouTube video in the Facebook group as well. So people will be able to get back on it and see it. But someone in the group on Facebook was commenting and saying that they've known depression to immobilize some people, which, that's true, of course. And I've seen it too. So, it's just unfortunate the way that people label people by saying that they have these disorders when they really don't have a clue. So anyway, I'm not going to blabber on, because I can and I will, but it's been about 30 minutes. So I don't think that anybody has any questions. So I'm going to end this, and hopefully I'll be prepared over the next, once school is starting back now, and the fall is coming and stuff like that. So I'll have material actually prepared in the fall, once everything calms down from the summertime. So hi GA Peach, just now ending the live, but just a few things to wrap up though. Again, welcome to everybody that's new, everybody who newly subscribed to the YouTube channel, everybody who is a new part of the Day-to-Day Social Work Facebook page. We have tons and tons of new members there. And as far as tutoring goes, that's another thing. So I'm going to be taking my ethics class. So if anybody has been following for a while, I took psychodiagnostics at the beginning of the year. So that's one of the requirements in the state of South Carolina in order to get your advanced license. So I took the psychodiagnostics class earlier this year, and I took a break for the summer, and I'll be taking my ethics class starting November 1st, so that I can go ahead and get that out the way. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of live one-on-one tutoring. I'm already kind of booked up anyway for the next few weeks, because I'm only trying to do like one day a week, which is another reason why I've put the 45-day pre-recorded tutoring series on special until next Sunday. So you have a whole nother week if you want to get that on special. And that's the 15 videos with the 180 questions covered over 11 hours. So just wanted to make sure that people are still aware that that's going to be on special for a whole nother week. It's I think it was $50 off that I took off of it. So it's just $125 for the 45-day access. But again, just wanted to make sure that people knew that I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of one-on-one tutoring once I start back with my ethics class, or start with my ethics class. So for those of y'all who are still studying for your exams, make sure that you don't get too anxious and don't get too worked up over, the exam. I know it's important. I know it's a huge thing, and we have to take it seriously, of course, because it's a huge investment for our careers and that kind of thing. But, it's just an exam. It doesn't define who you are. We always claim that you will pass it on the first try. I always encourage people to try to take the exam on their own the first try without, spending so much money on tutoring and packages and all this stuff, material and all that kind of stuff, because you can pass it on your own the first time. But, if you happen not to pass it the first time and you feel like you need some help or you need some tutoring, then that's what day-to-day social work is here for. Again, I do want to just shout out Myra. Y'all know Myra. She posts the questions on the day-to-day Facebook page, and she's been one of the people that I interviewed in one of the YouTube videos. And she's one of my best friends. So, she passed her LISWCP, which is her advanced license, which is the highest license in the state of South Carolina for social work about a month ago, I would think. So I do want to again shout Myra out for passing her exam, and she's working diligently on getting everything together so that she can start in her own private practice. So I'm really happy for her. I'm really proud of her for getting everything together with that. And she's going to be able to help me whenever I, whenever I pass the exam too. So I've just now come upon 1 year of supervision. So of course we have to have 100 hours of clinical supervision before we can sit for the exam here in the state of South Carolina. And you also have to have either 2,000 or 3,000 hours of contact with clients before you can sit for the exam. So I've just completed 1 year of supervision, which seemed like it took a long, long time, but it really didn't. And I have 1 more year to go. So around this time next year, hopefully I'll be finished with my hours, and then I can sit for the exam, and I'll be right back in the same position as, all of y'all. And I'm nervous about it too. And I'm currently saving money every check to make sure that I have some money saved up to take the exam in case I don't pass it on the first try. And of course, I'm always going to claim for myself too that I'm going to pass it on the first try. But if I don't, then I'm going to have to look into some resources too, other than just myself, of course. So, I'm just preparing for that too, even though I'm a year out. I put like $5 or $10 to the side every time I get paid to go towards the exam, in a year, a little bit over a year from now. So hopefully I'll pass that exam and I'll be independently licensed and can open my own clinical practice and work with military families, which is what I want to do next, because I've gotten a lot of experience in a lot of different areas in the field of social work, from working with at-risk youth to domestic violence to victims of crime, domestic violence. I said domestic violence already, but sexual assault, victims of crime, Now I work with the hospital system with pediatric endocrinology, primarily with children with type 1 diabetes and cognitive delays and developmental delays, and then also adults with chronic conditions, medical conditions. Um, so, and I just really want to be well-rounded as a social worker. So I definitely want to dabble into the military social work once I get my advanced license. So anyway, of course, I'm going to end with something positive. Thank you all for the work that you do in this field. And, I know sometimes we go unrecognized. We are sometimes overworked and underpaid. Sometimes we're not appreciated. We're not respected as the professionals that we are. We have people who think that we only take people's kids and all that other craziness, but we know what we do. And so I just commend you and thank you for the work that you do. I hope you have a great week. I hope you're able to, affect change in the lives of others, intentionally and purposefully this week, and that, you go out and be your best self and you engage in self-care if that's something that you need. And that you step away and take a break if you need to do that too, if you're able to, as far as, taking some time off, a day off or whatever. But yeah, definitely look into that meditation. And for some people, it takes a lot to get into that kind of thing, especially if you're not used to it, because it took me a while. It's just to have to find something that kind of helps, because some of it is just like, what am I listening to? And then other stuff that I listen to is like, I get right into it. So like guided imagery has been helpful for me. But yeah, just browse YouTube and see what you can find, and do some self-care for yourself at home. So I'm going to end this, and I'm going to post this in the Facebook group in case anybody wants to watch it back. And then also, of course, it'll be on the YouTube page as well. So any questions before I get off? Because I see a couple people are watching on YouTube still. Any questions? And it's thundering here. Sounds like it might be about the storm, or, it is storming. All right, so I don't see any questions. So thank y'all for watching again. Anybody who just joined, I see the number go up a little bit. If you want to go back and watch, then I'm about to post this now. So everybody have a great night and a great week. And hopefully I'll see you next week.